Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a full review and this is Dusita Cavatina. This turned up in the post. I had no idea it was coming. It's a 10ml, kind of a miniature bottle, but basically a 10ml sample of the new Cavatina. And it came with a lovely kind of postcard with a little bit of information on it. The poem for this one reads, "They sweeten by the warmth of the sun, like the human heart by loving kindness." And this is the painting. The short sentence on the back reads, "Cavatina enhances the wearer's innate sophistication, creating an aura of radiant charm that seems to emanate from deep within." And so what I get from this when I first spray it is there is beautiful kind of clean freshness. I get a little bit of a citrus top note. Clean, kind of bright, fresh citrusy, and immediately you smell white floral. In this there is a trio of floral. There's tuberose, jasmine, and a lily of the valley accord. When I first smelled this, my initial thoughts were jasmine and tuberose in the opening, more with this citrus bright kind of fresh top note. I think the opening is when you probably smell the most of the jasmine and tuberose combination, a little bit thicker in the opening. But as it dries down, it becomes to get more soapy, and the lily of the valley kind of comes forward through the mid and the dry down of this fragrance on my skin predominantly more than the other notes. So for me, this is a white floral focused perfume, leaning more towards the lily of the valley side of things. As the citrus tones down, that lily of the valley comes up, and that's, I feel like that probably in combination with some kind of light musk molecules kind of give this a soapy kind of feeling. It reminds me of a very pretty, very beautiful smelling, kind of more feminine, female, kind of more luxurious bar of scented soap. Essentially, it's got a soapiness, it's got a cleanness. For me, this doesn't go overly indolic. Like jasmine, tuberose are quite heavy in indoles, which essentially means for some people it can smell dirty or a little bit funky. It's got this kind of floral funk to it that some people find unpleasant. And in my experience, that vastly differs nose to nose. And it really depends on your sensitivity and how much you kind of pick up on that. For me, I don't get a heavy indole from this. It actually smells quite clean to my nose. Other people might have different experiences. That's, I think, very much, like I say, personal, skin chemistry dependent somewhat, as well as just your general senses independent to you on how you pick up those. For me, this doesn't go the indolic way, but stays quite clean and soapy and fresh and light and airy. Ylang Ylang is listed on the notes. I don't get a huge amount of that, but there is a subtle, what I would call floral sweetness coming through a little bit in the early top to mid notes, which might be a little bit of the Ylang Ylang coming through. It's very, like I say, white floral focused, very pretty, very feminine. I would say on a kind of a masculine to feminine kind of spectrum, this definitely does lean more on the feminine side. Not to say that a man can't wear it, for sure, obviously men can wear it, but in terms of the bias of like mental programming and cultural conditioning, this would be considered feminine for a lot of people. There are woods listed in the base, Siamese woods and sandalwood, and it doesn't get overly woody on my skin as it dries down. The lily of the valley accord, for me, with just dabbles of the jasmine and tuberose, are the main focus and body of the perfume. Like I say, creating this kind of soapy clean accord, probably some light musks used, and the woods, subtle, but they come across creamy, smooth, soft, delicate as it dries down, but not in your face woody as it dries down. Just a hint of a light kind of soft, pale, white woods, that kind of thing. just helping anchor the fragrance without smelling too woody. The Lily of the Valley Accord is very long lasting in terms of the whole entire length of the fragrance into the dry down and disappearing. The Lily of the Valley note is present there. In terms of performance for this, on my skin, 6 to 7 hours. So it lasted the majority of the day with a reasonably good projection and sillage, but kind of modest in your own little bubble. Within the first couple of hours, you can easily smell it around. When I took the dog for a walk outside, for example, I could easily smell it around myself. So in general, it has good performance. And in terms of season, I would say summer, spring are the ideal. Spring specifically, but I think you can wear it in the summer. It's not a sweet perfume. Vanilla is listed on the notes, but by no means is it sweet. It's fresh, it's soapy, it's clean. It's this light, airy kind of floral that's very pretty. I think perfect, it would work in the summer. Spring, absolute ideal season for this. Autumn and winter maybe struggle a little bit with the cold because this does feel quite light. So summer and spring, probably more daytime focused, but in my imagination, I would imagine a woman could, like in my head I'm picturing it on a woman. You could probably wear this very safely to work without ever offending anybody because it's pretty, it's light, it's not too heavy, it's not massive on the indolic kind of nature. Like I say, it's quite soapy, so I would consider it work appropriate personally. Daytime, most occasions you could wear it going out in an evening. I think generally it's pleasing to most people, I would say. So in that regard, quite versatile. It comes across maybe a little bit minimalistic in comparison to some other Dusita fragrances. It feels slimlined, like I say, minimalist kind of composition. Almost in my head, if I was to compare, I could imagine this, for example, being maybe like an Abel perfume. There's a brand in Amsterdam I really like called Abel, and they actually do all natural perfumes, but their compositions are, I don't like using the word simple because they can be complex even though they smell minimal. So like I say, minimalist kind of compositions that are not, there's not a million notes hitting you in the face from all directions. It's giving you a specific idea that's well focused, well executed, and smells good. And that's what this does. It's a minimalist composition in terms of there's no million kind of notes hitting you, but it smells good and it gives a very specific idea. That is my take on it. If you have tried it, let me know your thoughts. Like I say, I would say this is one of the more minimalist from Dusita in comparison to things like Oud Infini, for example. This one is softer, lighter, much more mass appealing in comparison to perfumes like that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again with another one. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.